You talked about the bomb craters, and there's a lot of, there were places I didn't go in Laos because of the unexploded ordnance. There's,
Yeah.
I think like 60,000 tons still or something. It could be 100 years before they can clean it up. And there's some World Heritage sites that are like, yeah, you could go, but there's bombs there. So, um,
Yeah.
you, and it's so weird, right? Because we're not in a war area most of the time, and then all of a sudden you go back and this war was pretty recent. Our your father was in it. Like lots of my dad's friends were like, why are you going to Vietnam? Like stay away from there. What was your experience and understanding of war from being there?
Well, you're right. The biggest discovery to me that, not wasn't finding my dad, finding myself. It was actually discovering how much unexploded ordnance from a war that ended 50 years ago, how much is still there and is still killing people. I mean, it's Laos is the most heavily bombed country in the history of the world, and they weren't part of the Vietnam War. They were just geographically the innocent bystanders. And so finding out about all the unexploded ordnance, seeing the devastation, the bomb craters that are still there, the bombs that are still exploding, that was a huge shock to me. And I came home, one, feeling disgusted by war and the very visual presence. Like I said earlier, you're standing in history. It's different to read about it or see it on the news, but in 3 dimension, to look at the earth there that looks like Swiss cheese. Literally, you have to walk on the ridges between all the bomb craters to stand in that. It really is impactful to understand history when you stand in it. And so that was a big discovery for me of how devastating and how awful and how it still continues to kill people. But on the flip side of that, and that was the genesis for starting the Be Good Foundation, is feeling like definitely my dad brought me there to show me what still exists, and asked me to use my platform to do something about it. He was remorseful about having to be there. He wrote it in his letters home. He didn't like dropping bombs. And I believe that I was brought there with my career and my cycling, for him to ask me to continue helping with the healing. And so
Mm.
that's the genesis of my foundation. But I will tell you, the flip side of that is, when we talk about war, I have never met people more forgiving of the past and moving on in my whole life. I mean, if you put it into context, I was going through these villages and went to the village of Taoy where my dad was shot down and basically asked, can I come into your home? My dad was one of the people who was dropping bombs on you. Can I come in and will you help me find him? I mean, if you imagine if someone came to your front door and said, yeah, my family was dropping bombs here. Can I come in and will you welcome me? And always the answer was yes. How can we help you? Oh, you're here to travel. You're here to look and understand and explore. We'll help you. Hands down, everyone wanted to help me. And when you think about the history, they could have been hostile and said, no, we don't want to welcome you here. And Huan even said that I didn't understand her words at the time, but in translation in the film, she said, the history is past, and the healing begins with me and her going on a ride. The healing begins with a Vietnamese woman and an American woman going on a bike ride. And so I will say, the juxtaposition of the atrocities of war and how the people in Southeast Asia are able to forgive. Both
Mm.
those things were very, very impactful for me, and I carry those with me now.
Yeah. Yeah, I experienced I was surprised at how, welcoming the Vietnamese people were, especially, and it's I read a bunch of Vietnamese books about, there is a sadness to the culture of Vietnam, just because it's not just Americans that had their
Mm.
fingers in the, they've been invaded by the Chinese for millennia, and then the French, and then the Siamese, and then the Americans. We were all just trying to take control of their country. And the besides calling it the American War, they called it, the Vietnamese Independence War, or the Unification War. Like, we
Yeah.
just want to be in charge of our own people for the first time in centuries. And I was really stirred by, like it doesn't matter how long you stay here, like we're always just gonna want this. So you can't even win a war against some people that they just want to be free and in charge of their lives.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Their history. There's a book. Have you read the book, The Mountains Sing?
mm-mm,
That's a really good one, written by a Vietnamese woman. And it's a generational story of her grandmother who was fighting for their country, and her mother, and then her during, the Vietnam War. And it's actually, to your point, a quite stunning generational story of women, three women, mother,
mm,
grandmother, and daughter, who all went through very similar things of just wanting to protect their home from different people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey friend, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this particular clip, then I have something else I want to tell you about, which is the League of Superconductors. It's a business mastermind that I run to elevate the greatest change makers of our time. That is people that I like to call quantum entrepreneurs, metaphysical, spiritual teachers, healers, coaches, light workers of different types. And this is a year-long business mastermind starting in May of 2022. So if that's the type of thing that you're looking for, if you're looking to better fuel your mission by having a business that brings in all the abundance you're looking for, that both operates at the 3D level, serving the people of Earth, and at a multi-dimensional level, bringing in all of the higher wisdom and experience that you have access to, that's what we're doing. So if that sounds like something for you, then you can check out the link below, read a little bit more about the program, what we do each month. And I also invite you to apply for a call with me, a strategy session. We can get to know each other. I'll coach you a little bit, and you can decide if that might be the exact thing that you've been looking for. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.